Alright, me again. Today I'm actually touching stuff. I'm actually going to do stuff instead of whinging. In this video I'm going to be going over the SP16 by Pioneer Toraiz. We've already been over that, I can't say it properly, but fine. The SP16 sampler, but as the title suggests, I'm not using it as a sampler. I'm going to be using the sequencer to do my drum sequencing. Now, I've done a couple of videos on the SP16. I've watched pretty much every other video on the SP16 on YouTube, and other than the Pioneer's own videos and a couple of kind of obviously promotional videos, there's not really been much about the actual sequencer. There's loads of videos of people just jamming out, which is cool, but there's not been many videos of how deep the sequencer actually is and how good it is. Now, if you watch the previous videos that I've done about the SP16, like the initial one when I bought it, the reasons for buying it mainly was because the sequencer not just looked awesome, but it was a sequencer that was on the Roland TR8 range, TR8S and a TR8 and so on. Love the look of it. I love the idea that you have different colours for the different things. I like that it's 16 in a row rather than the dig attack that I used to have, which was 2 rows of 8. I like the feel of them. They're just generally, it's just a great thing. If that was on the MPC, game over. Game over. You wouldn't need anything at game over. But it's not, so I got that one instead. Tried everything with it. The only thing that I really loved and wanted to keep it for was the drum sequencing. So didn't bother doing anything else, just did drum sequencing. I've recently just finished a 4-track EP, drum and bass, liquid, kind of deep, vocal, so on. And all the drums were from the SP16, all using the sequencer. As the title suggests, I'm going to be talking about things like Trig Conditions. Now, I don't know whether Pioneer call them Trig Conditions, Electron do, with a dig attack, an octatrack and whatever, but that's kind of what they are. Different things for different parameter values for different trig points and so on. But it's just really good. So I'm going to show you how I make drum and bass beats with it. So yeah, I mean, just go. Welcome to the SP16. As mentioned in the intro, I'm going to be using this to do my drum sequencing. And again, as mentioned, it's my main drum sequencer. And I'm going to talk through how deep this can get. I've got a drum and bass kit loaded up here. As you can see, I'm at 174 beats per minute, and I'm only using 1 bar from the pattern. So let's go through the sounds. So as you can hear, I've got an array of things. As you can probably see as well, I've got like a color coding thing going down. So I've got kick is red, claps and things, and snares, sorry, are blue, hi-hatty things, high percussion's orange, then I've got rimshotty things as sort of a turquoisey color, kind of just off blue, just different kinds of claps. Then I've got my loops, all set in orange, and then I have a high ride in yellow, and then a sample in purple. First of all, the main thing that I love about this is this sequencer down here. I love the fact that it is exactly like the TR8S from Roland, and that's probably the only thing I like about the Roland stuff. It's a sequencer at the bottom, the way it looks, the way it feels, the immediacy of it, and generally how usable it is. So first of all, let's get a drum pattern down. So let's put a kick in, 1. So select track, kick. Right. Might layer that snare. Basic, put some hats in. So I like those, so I'm going to spread those hats across. Don't really like that, so I'm going to get rid of them. I'm just going to put the hats in every half. That's pretty good. So we've got the basis down already. We've got kicks, claps, a couple of hats there, some more off hats, and then we've got our secondary clap or snare. Next, I'm going to layer that over the top. So like that. So I'm going to put that one down. So we've got the basis down. Now you can see how quick that is, how easy it is to get stuff down, and just how responsive it is. Now this is where normally you would just stop, you would have your sequence. What I'm going to do is take advantage of something called Trig Conditions. Now I don't know if this is what Pioneer calls it, but this is what the Electron series of boxes call it. Now what this means is on each of the triggers that you have, so for instance my hat triggers, each of these can have various amounts of different parameter values. So for instance, if I have a kick here, I might want a double kick, but I don't want it to be as loud. So if I play it now, I don't want this one to be as loud. What I can do is hold this down and then turn the volume down here. And now you can see it tells me that this has a condition added to it. Again, I don't know if that's what Pioneer calls it, but just from having Electron digitacts and things like that, I'm going to call it a condition. So here, you can see it flashes, which indicates that there's something different to it. So let's have a listen again. Bring it down further. Now you can not only do this with the volume, you can do this with pretty much any of the parameters that show up here. This works for effects, this works for everything. I'm going to keep it simple and just stick to the main menu here. So on this one, I'm going to change the pitch of this down 2 semitones. Let's go to these ones. So I really like that. I'm going to pull the volume of this down and this one down even further. I might take the pitch of this one all the way down as well. I like the sound of that. That one. So what I've done in here, if I just solo this one now, hear what this sounds like. So just soloing that, you can hear just changing the pitch of this last one. It gives you kind of a different sample sound. I'm also going to put one here. There we go. I'm also going to listen to, I like this one here. So on these two here, I'm going to pull these pitches down. Cool, so now I've got a basis idea, right? But I'm only working off one bar. What I'm going to do now is hold shift and pattern. Now what I can do is select all 4 patterns. Now what this does is that it duplicates my first bar, my first 16 steps across all of them. So now when I play, let's take it out of here, let's have a listen. It plays the same thing 4 times. So now I can come to my last bar here, go to the kicks, kind of like that. It's pretty cool. Let's think about what we can do for the last section here on the. We haven't even used this one yet. So I'm going to put that every second. I'm just going to record this in. Listen to the pitch of that down. Cool. I'm going to come up now to the swing. And I'm going to change this swing up a little bit more. prefer that. Pull the volume down. A bit more. Up. That's kind of nice there. Last one here. Maybe there. Just playing around really. So, let's have a listen here. Actually, I'm going to leave those as they are, and I'm going to start to mess around with some of these loops now, playing over the top. So, that's kind of nice, this one. Cool, right, let's record that in. See. Now, as you can see, look, I've messed those ones up here, so let's get rid of that. And it's telling me that it's not bang on. So let's get rid of these. I'm going to put this to one shot. Cool. Now what I need to do is come into this and just change the length of it a little bit. Because I'm going to play it into one shot, but I don't want it to be that long. So I only want it to be... Right, see? So what I'm going to do is put grid snap on, and I'm going to change the length of this down to here. So I know that it's only going to be one set long. So now I can put one trigger here, one here, one here, and one here. And I know that it's always going to be perfectly in time. I come back to the main menu, change the pitch. Again, I'll put this into solo. So you can kind of pitch it to the track. So let's come out of here again. That's kind of nice there. Those hats seem pretty nice. Let's see what they sound like. It's a little bit too much. I'm kind of liking how this is sounding at the minute. So now we can think about coming back to the initial sounds and maybe changing up some of these. So let's go from the start and bring this one down 4. See what this sounds like. Too much, far too much. Maybe just down 3. See if we can change this by half a semitone. If I hold down shift, you'll see that it goes up now in half semitones. Again, I really like that, so we're going to do the same thing again. Pull that down to 2.5, again here, 2.5, again here, 2.5. So now we've got half a semitone down of each of our second snares on this pad. Again, sort of really feeling it, and it's we've not really dived into any effects or anything yet. I mean, we've got some effects on the samples themselves. For instance, if I come into this compressor here, let's maybe ease off on the compression. Actually, it sounds nicer with more. It's pretty nice there. See what the length's like. Kind of nice. Cool, let's come to the mixer. So right, I'm feeling that, but one other thing that I'd like to do is on this, kind of like that sound. Let's add in a little bit more edge into this. Put a compressor on it. quite like the sound of that, but what I want to do is also stick a ducker on here, and I'm going to pick the trigger as track 1. So the trigger for track 1 is going to be the kick drum. Ease off the depth a bit. That's kind of nice. What else can we add to that just to give it a bit more swell? So we've got, see if that one already has one on. No, I'm going to put one on this one. So I'm going to go to the ducker here, change the track to track 1. Change the timing a touch. Come back to this loop, ease off on the compression. Now the initial kick sounds okay, but it might sound nicer a little bit down. Pull that down to 3. Bring this down. Again, bring the volume down to that one. Maybe put another one in here, really quiet. No, I don't like that one. Another one in here. Just to fill out that loop a bit more. Down, volume. Maybe a little bit higher. This is just pattern 1. So look, we've got pattern 1 here. We've got all of these other patterns that we can make up for it. I'm happy with pattern 1. What I can do is duplicate pattern 1 over to pattern 2. So the way we do this, come up to the patterns here, come up to pattern. See, we've got our patterns row here. I can go pattern 1. I like that. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste this over to pattern 2. So now we have pattern 2. So here, look, you can see pattern 2 and pattern 1 are the same. However, now I'm going to make some changes to pattern 2. Let's have a listen to pattern 2 and see what we can do different. Let's go to the kick drum track. I kind of like that. Just on pattern 2. So right, it's not bad. Let's maybe try that there instead. Actually, let's try it on the first one just to see. It's not bad. Cool, right. So this one here and that one there is good. Good. Cool, right. We need to take that one out there and put it there. That one's good. That one's good. And that was good. Really like that. So now let's go pattern 1. See, right, I quite like that now. So in pattern 2, I'm going to come to the third row here and just take out the first kick, see what that sounds like. Cool. So you can see how easy it is just to get some really nice complex changes. Now again, remember, anytime you hold down one of these, anything that shows up down the bottom here can then be triggered to a different condition. So say this one, just for the sake of it for now, let's bring the pitch of that one down, let's bring the pitch of this one up, let's bring the pitch of this one down by 4. Let's just put this into solo for a sec so you can hear. So again here, up. Let's bring that down. Bring that down too. Slight changes again. That's pretty much the drums sorted. Now, just before I end this video, I just wanted to talk about how I get the kits in. So how I'm using this is basically, it's just a drum machine, so I'm not using it for anything else other than for drums. It kind of annoys me. And how I have my drums set up is in scenes. So as you can see here, there are a few scenes that I have laid out. The first scene here is my drum and bass kit. But if I go to scene 2, pick a pattern, I've got a completely different kit there. Scene 3, I've got a 909 kit. Scene 4, another 909-ish sort of kit. Scene 5, just a nice, again, mixed kit, 909s, 707s and so on. And then lastly, a nice little techno kit, which I can then sequence how I want them. Let's go back to scene 1 and press start. And it's always saved what I did last. I could turn this off right now and it would turn back on and come back exactly to where I was without saving it. Just to show how that works, let's just do it and pray. And boom. Pattern 2. Loads of fun. That is why this is my preferred drum sequencer. There we go. That is just it's good, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's just quick, responsive, excellent. Everything that I didn't like about the Digitact, that solves. One solid row of 16. They light up with colours. They feel great. It's just, you feel like you can bash it. That's one good thing about the Digitact, actually. I could proper slap it about. Do you know what I mean? You could just proper slap the shit out of it and it was still really good. This is just as good. The build quality of it, brilliant. The fact that I've got it mapped to the MPC, which I didn't really show in this one, but whenever I just press play on the MPC, it just automatically syncs MIDI and so on. It's just great. It's just really good. So hopefully that answered some questions, maybe. I don't know. I mean, no one asked me to do this video. I just thought it would be a good one because I've been using it quite a lot. For instance, I've just finished a garage remix for someone else, and again, all the drums were in that. That, along with like the sequences, being able to have the 4-bar loop, but then 16 of those as separate patterns, and then still having the mutes and stuff. the whole Garage remix was recorded in live, like midied up to Pro Tools and stuff. So when I pressed play in Pro Tools, it pressed play on the SP, but it just played it through and just changed patterns and muted bits and just recorded it all in live. And remember, from what I mentioned, I've got the kit coming out output 1, snares, claps, rims and so on coming out output 2, both mono, and then a stereo output 3 and 4 for the percussive stuff. So probably like you class it as the high frequency stuff. I didn't even go into the panning. Normally what I would do is pan some of the hats left and right, which can be on different trigs, various amounts of left and right. It's just proper deep and really easy. I'm so glad that I didn't sell it. I was going to sell it because I didn't like the effects and I didn't like that I couldn't make a full track in it as quick as I could on the MPC. That was a massive mistake to even think like that. Once I just had it in mind that it was my drum sequencer, it's game over. It's just that it's done. Everything about it I think is quality. It sounds good as well. I wasn't even using the filter, the Dave Smith drive and that. Didn't even use it. It just sounds fat. It just sounds really good. Some of the other effects in it, like the chorus and the delay, and they're just shit. Sorry, I can't deal with it. But when I'm just using it as a drum sequencer, the compressor's not bad, the distortion's not bad, the lo-fi is not actually that bad, the ducker's pretty good to duck some of the other percussion out the way. So the stuff that I would use for drums is cushy. Like there's no need for me to use a chorus on the drum parts. If I want to do that later on, I'll just do it when I'm mixing the stuff in Pro Tools or Logic or Ableton or whatever. I don't need it when I'm making it. I think it's really good. So yeah, as usual, comment, subscribe, like, do all the stuff that you're supposed to say when you do a YouTube video. And yeah, appreciate everyone that subscribed so far. 1,100, which is good, again, for me, just me, in here, on my own, chatting bollocks. If you think I've been talking bollocks, kushti, let me know why, and we'll discuss it. So, awesome. See you later.